Okay, so you clicked on this guide here because you want to know how S-cars work. By the way, person next to me is my friend Aero, so if you want to say hello or anything.
Hello.
Great. So, pretty much, when using S-cars, and that's what this guide is meant to be for, the first thing we're going to cover is how to spawn them. So, you want to go into your mod menu. Also, make sure that you are subscribed to the S-cars add-on. There are 3 separate add-ons. Um, Basically, screenshots will come up on the screen right now, going through the three of them that you can get. You want to click the subscribe button on Steam to download them. Then you want to go and start a Garry's Mod map in single player, most likely. The game will load them in for you. And then, once you've done that, if you have any friends who want to play with you, you want to make sure that they go and download the exact same S-Car add-on, and then wait for them to basically load the thing in single player so that when you play with them, you don't have to wait through the same loading screen. So, now as you can already see, we've already spawned this lovely, I think, Ford Mustang. It's completely pink and kind of honestly glaring in the sunlight here. So as I mentioned, if you just press F1 to open the spawn menu, S-Cars will be, well, actually no, they're up here actually. They're in this like red tab here called S-Cars. And then to spawn one, you simply left click on them, for example this Ford GT, and then you can spawn it. Then once the S-car is spawned, if you press F1 again, there's some neat little tools here you can use to edit the S-car. So a great example here is if we go into the health tab here, what this basically means is this slider here is used for setting the vehicle health, and then these 2 checkboxes, if you click them, it enables the car to actually be damaged. So Aero, you want to give a demonstration of that and try and actually like pop one of the tires off this blue car here? So as you can see there, he's shown that off perfectly. Great display of that. Any kind of gun pretty much will work. If the tire actually popped and then, well, deflated. And if you use more powerful weapons, such as this rocket launcher here, you may want to get back a little bit. You can actually, well, if you hit the S-car once, as you can see there, it started smoking. And if you hit it again, it'll actually fully blow up and kind of, well, yeah, as you can see, explode. Right, so pretty much if you want to go and fix an S-car, you use the same tool you modify its actual health with. So you just go down to this tab here. I'm going to highlight it with an arrow or something, and then you click this, and then you get the health gun tool. And then you left click on the S-car, and it fixes it right up. However, not only is this tool here useful for repairing an S-car, it can also make an S-car completely invincible, which is really good for recording skits, all that kind of stuff, potential YouTube machinimas, that kind of thing. So, in order to make your S-car invincible, it's really simple. You just go into here, where it says car damage and wheel damage, and you uncheck these boxes, and then you use the same tool, and you zap the S-car. So now, Aero, if you could just go and shoot one of the tires again. Keep shooting it, honestly. Yeah, so as you can see here, he's accurate enough, but it just straight up can't actually break the S-car wheel. Like, this will make your car completely invincible. So, by the way, S-cars also have a unique mechanic, which is fuel. This here is the is basically the fuel editing tool. So how this works is, you see here, with this button is ticked, your car will actually consume fuel. So if I just tick this here, and then zap the car, and then proceed to get in it, it will now display how much fuel I have in that little dial down there. I can't move my mouse to it right now, because I'm right now in the car, with my basically hands around the steering wheel, but I'm going to put a little red arrow or like circle around it, and that there will indicate how much fuel we have. The annoying thing about S-cars, though, is if a car has fuel in it, like a regular car in real life, this means it could potentially run out of fuel. So in order to make it no longer do that, what you want to do is go into this tab here again, click on fuel consumption here to uncheck it, zap the S-car again, and now it'll run on fuel basically forever. You don't need to do a single thing about it. Okay, so now that I've covered how to make your S-car be able to drive forever with an unlimited amount of fuel, and how you can make it potentially invincible and fix it, I'm going to cover neon lights and also how to repaint it. For repainting an S car, it's actually really simple and easy to explain. So you want to go into the same menu again we were at, like the S cars menu down here by pressing F1, and then you just go into the paint job switcher here, and then you just left click on the car, and it's really hard to tell here because this car went from black to dark brown. But again, if you click it, you can see it's bright orange, and this can be clicked rapidly to rapidly cycle through a bunch of different colorations for all the cars. Right-clicking doesn't really do anything. Right-clicking just selects the S, and I think right-clicking enables it so that you can go and edit the paint job to your liking, but we're just going to focus right now on just scrolling through the different paint jobs. Also, apparently, if you press reload on an S car, it will give it a random paint job, so it won't cycle through the list of paint jobs. So if you notice right now, this one's on purple, and then it goes to orange, to pink, to green, to yellow, to blue, and so on. But if you keep on pressing R on an S car, it'll just give it a completely random paint job. Like, same for this one here. You can just have anything you like. So, now you know how to paint the S car. I'm going to also cover neon lights. So how this works is this bar up here decides what kind of like how big you want the light. Stay time. I'm actually not so sure about how that will work. I think if you crank these sliders up, what it'll do is it'll kind of make the neon light flash, so to kind of give it a strobe effect. I'm pretty sure that's what it does. You can try that out yourself, though, when using neon lights. But for me, I just like to keep them on a very large light size. Pick a kind of greenish color like I've done here, and then once you're on it, selected on it, you can then zap the car, and it should then, once you've gotten in it, at least gotten out. Well, this one doesn't seem to be displaying it that well. Oh, I think I should get what was happening here. This bar here is also for basically the opacity of it. So I think what happened was it was set right down here. So if you have this basically set down here, this value over here becomes 0, and that means that the neon light is completely invisible in that case. So by using this, we're just gonna zap the thing again, and now try and get it on and off it. And well, there you have it. No neon light at all still. I have no idea why this isn't happening. It could be just the map and its unique lighting, like the sun up there could be doing it. But trust when I say I was using it on a tropical island map before, and it worked there. Okay, so now that all the little S-car like utilities have been covered, we should really cover how the controls in them actually work and everything. So for this, I'm just going to get in the driver's seat here. Now the first thing you should know is... Okay, I figured out the neon. It's in the car. I think I need to turn this off. Hold on and give me a second. It's... oh boy. Yeah, I definitely need to turn the neon off for that. That is not meant to happen, by the way. The neon is meant to just spawn underneath the car, not like that. So excuse me while I just zap both cars to turn off. Good. There's no... oh dear. It's still bright as hell inside here.
Oh god.
Yeah, I don't know how to turn this off, so give us a second while we remove the S-cars and spawn them back in. Okay, so we're back, and after going and spawning in a new S-car, the inside of it, as you can see, is no longer neon pasted. Now I can finally explain how the actual controls work. So, first thing when it comes to controls with S-cars is you use E to enter and exit the car. I also remembered I should really give this thing unlimited fuel so we don't run out in the middle of it, like before. Always remember to do this if you want to keep driving, people. Okay, so when it comes to an S-car, like I was saying, you press E to get inside the S-car. Then, once you're doing that, whatever weapon you were using at the time will then be in your character's hands. This can look quite silly, honestly. Like, for example, I am now holding a thing that says car fuel right there. And, if I were to just get out of the car and switch to, for example, the crossbow, yeah, I now got a crossbow in my hand when in the car, which also looks real ridiculous. So, now when it comes to actual controls, it pretty much WASD to control the car. So S will make you reverse, D will turn you left, A will turn you right, and S will put on the brakes for the car. I'm able to drive this thing quite well, honestly, because I've had a lot of experience in Need for Speed games and stuff like that, but honestly, it can be a little hard to drive this thing when you don't know what you're doing. If you could just stay still also, Aero, I want to also show you how it can be potentially super easy to run your friends over with this thing. So yeah, as you can see there, The S-car in general will do massive damage to players, and can kill them quite easily. Also capable of knocking over other S-cars, as you see there. There are some other controls when it comes to S-cars, and that is, if you press V, it enables third person with the S-car, and unfortunately for a lot of player models, like as you can see, I'm using Renamon here, and her ears are sticking right out of the top of the S-car. So some player models, like human characters, which you're normally meant to be playing, and the Combine Soldier, like Aero is playing here, will work when you are inside an S-car. Other models, such as Renamon here, won't. Another thing I might as well also show you is that when driving around in an S-car, and you're in first person, these things can really pick up a whole heap of speed, and it can be quite easy to crash them into walls and trees, as you can see there, because when you start driving and they really pick up speed, they kind of just swerve all over the place. I'm only able to control it that well until I hit the rock there, because as I mentioned, I've had a lot of experience with these kind of things. And trust me when I say, if you feel like you pressed V and the vehicle is suddenly out of your control, that is normal. When driving it with V enabled, in other words, third person enabled in S cars, they get even more out of control and they start doing this odd little sliding thing where it's like you've just greased the wheels up with butter and it's impossible to control. In fact, Aero, on a scale of 1 to 10, how impossible would you rate them to control when you press V?
Yes.
That's it. Yeah, excellent answer there. Go on, say what you're gonna say.
Honestly, it's ridiculous. I can barely run those things after pressing V. It's... Ugh.
Well, that's actually really... Since you mentioned you're kind of not that good at driving these things, we might as well show another excellent demonstration, which is the fact that when you're in an S-car that does an invincible, like you can see that one there, the green one I was using, I crashed into a heap of rocks, it was invincible, so it didn't blow up. Aero, please doom us both by crashing the car enough so it explodes.
A few moments later.
And as you can see, now we're on fire, exactly what I was trying to show off. You can still, of course, still drive it, but you have basically a limited amount of time before that happens. And you can imagine how good that would be for video skits and stuff like that. And then, of course, once your S-car is all nice and burning, you can just get out the health tool again and zap it. I'm pretty sure Aero's already off to do that, or if not, I will. Yeah, it can work from really far away, and yeah, your S-cars are all good and ready to go again.
Quick note, though, if you don't repair the car fast enough, it will actually despawn.
Yes, we ended up figuring that out off camera. But if that ever happens, don't worry, because you can just spawn in the same type of car again, and then scroll through the paint jobs if your S-car didn't have a custom paint job. In that case, you might want to save a dupe of it if you made something like a really gaudy pink with racing stripes, because that currently isn't a preset for this S-car here. You got really gaudy pink, but no racing stripes. Okay, so the reason why we're suddenly on a different map here is because I wanted to show off something got to do with this map here. But first, there's one thing I forgot to mention when it comes to S-cars and the controls of them. So, for what I'm ready to show off, pretty much go into the options menu here, then click on advanced, and you want to make sure that the developer console thing here is enabled. Then you click OK, and then while in game, you press the tilde key, which is the key right next to your 1 key on the keyboard. And that will bring up this thing here, and this is where you can basically type in the developer console and enter stuff. So we're going to type in SV underscore here cheats 1. Don't mind that it's immediately making me go to third person already because I've just got the T key set to that, so it'll constantly be happening. So once you've typed in that, you want to type in bind third person P, press enter. So apparently I got this slightly wrong here. You want to actually type bind and then the key. So in this case it's P third person. And then again, bind O first person. And you don't have to use these two keys. I'm just using these keys because there's a tutorial out there that used them by this one person called Absurd Tales. I'm actually going to include a link to that said tutorial on the top right hand side of the screen right now. But the main reason why I'm actually showing you this in the first place is because of this thing I forgot to cover with the S-cars, and that is the fact that if you hop into one and don't press V, and go into third person the other way by binding it and using the console commands, as you can see right now, Renamon's head is completely invisible. You can't see her at all. Now, Aero, on his screen, will most likely actually be able to see my character's head perfectly, but this is just letting you know, if you want to go for, like, unique camera angles and that kind of stuff, you most likely have to have someone else doing the camera work if you go in third person this way. Because the unique thing about going in third person that way and hopping in the S cars, if you don't press V, it actually enables you to drive the car more smoothly, and like you will fling yourself around less in the S car, and the handling is better if you don't press V. So that's pretty much all I wanted to cover about like the special way you can enter third and first person using console commands. So the next thing we're going to cover here is how the physgun can be used to interact with the car. So Aero, if you could just demonstrate this here, just pick up the S car there and rotate it in the air, if you could. Yeah, so what he's doing here is if you hold down the E key, you're able to kind of rotate the S car, and you're also able to like rotate it different ways like that. And this is in general a really useful thing for potentially getting your S car unstuck from something. So if it's like, for example, upside down, you could, yeah, he's also, that is really wonky looking at what he's doing there, how the wheel's just going around. So yeah, you potentially get your S car out of troubled situations and right it again without having to use the gravity gun, which also works on it very well. Like if you just drop the S car for a minute. Yeah, let me just get out the gravity gun here. So the gravity gun can also be used to move the S car, as you see here, but it's not really the best for like riding it. You're better off using the physgun. Like as you can see here, by using the gravity gun, I've forced it on its side, where if you just use the physgun and then press E, you can safely just turn it around and get it like that. Another thing to keep in mind when getting S-cars out of troubled situations is that occasionally one of the wheels can get stuck in the floor, and if that's ever the case and your S-car isn't moving, just use the physgun to kind of pluck it out of the floor as if you were ripping a carrot out of the floor ready to eat it, and it should be good. The last thing I want to cover about the physgun is that you can really, really easily kill someone with this. So Aero, if you could just drop the S-car on my head. Don't even smash it around, just lightly pick it up, put it above my head, and drop it. You can see what I mean, dead immediately, and I was on 100 health, by the way. So if you ever want to kill your friends with cars, with blunt objects, use an S-car. Also, Aero, if you could just really quickly show off how this can be used as an effective weapon, just grab it and swing it at me as hard as you can. That was perfect. You didn't kill me, but just imagine you were the one getting hit by that blunt object. Absolutely terrifying. Also, if you ever needed to destroy an S-car, go ham with a physgun and, well... yeah, that.
The heck was that noise?
I'm a scat man.
Somehow, after all that, it ended up, like, falling like a cat the right way up. Let me see if I can actually destroy this thing properly. And of course I killed myself, so I guess again, an excellent way of showing S-cars are really deadly. Yes, now as you can see, it is actually finally smoking. Trust me, but after enough damage, this thing will eventually explode.
6.5 hours later.
Finally! Although I had to kill myself in the process.
It only cost you 2 lives.
Indeed. If we're talking video games here, terms here. And also, as you can see, the car tires are just everywhere. So the reason why we're suddenly over here on a highway now is because we're actually on the same map as before. This one's called GM Wangan, by the way. I'll include a picture of the map right now in case you wanted to download it. And the main reason why we're actually here is because this place has got some really, really unique cars. So when it comes to the cars and trucks here, you can actually get hit by it. And as you can see there, it actually did no damage to me. You can pretty much walk right up to these things and let them push you, and you won't even get damaged, and it'll just push you right up to this and not even kill you. But the unique thing is that these trucks and cars can totally mess up your S car and get it blown up. So if you ever wanted to record a funny skit or something like that, yeah, just watch this. This is what will happen. Wait, what's happening to that truck? Why is it suddenly just stopped?
Cause I'm here.
Oh, okay. Could you perhaps move out of the way of the truck? Oh, thank you.
No clipping works.
Strange. The car was what was meant to happen is the car's meant to like get destroyed and blow up horribly. Let me try that again. Just wait for another one to come. Yes, that is what I was trying to show off. The car will just immediately explode because the game registers that it has correctly just collided with a physics object. Also, if you're wondering where we actually went on the highway, yeah, here, this wrong way sign isn't actually on the Wangan map. As you can see, it's not actually a someplace that actually totally blocks you off. And then what we done was we just traveled all the way down this highway. We drove there. I'm just no clipping, by the way. And then once you get right to the end, it yeah, that is where we then positioned the car. So let me put a quick cut in here and I actually get back to the end there, because I also want to show you just how ridiculous this map gets. If you go and set the S car health to infinite, you can get some really, really funny interactions that happen that way too. Okay, so here we are after the small cut. What I've done is pretty much I've gone and just unticked these values here to disable the S car damage. And now I'm just going to get in the S car, and Aero, feel free to get in as well if you want, because we're in for a wild ride. I'm pretty much going to back us up, and you can see a little bit of blood splatter over here. Yeah, that is what I was trying to show off. You can just get pushed somewhere completely different by these cars here. And in general, if you have an unlimited health S car, you can just fly all over the place and just have fun getting just pushed everywhere, all over the place by these cars here.
If you get easily motion sick, don't try this.
It really, really helps if you enable third person like I have right now, because it somehow, at least for me, makes me less motion sick, that kind of thing. Right, so the reason why we switched maps here once again is because we're kind of winding the video down here, so we only got a few more things to cover with S-cars, and then you can pretty much count yourself knowledgeable in this subject, and you don't have to watch any more of this tutorial. The thing we're covering right here now is how that S-cars are actually got a real good quality of life improvement, and that is how it is almost impossible to get this thing waterlogged. So if you could just give a great example, Aero, just help in the car here and drive it into the lake.
You got it, boss.
Yeah, as you can actually hear there, after the car went and basically made the splash sound effect, it's now impossible to actually start the engine. But this fix is really simple. You can just rip it right out of the lake, set it down, and now if you can get out and get back in, you can see, yeah, like, the engine is immediately fixed, and it is a huge quality of life difference and a giant improvement over another car racing game, BNG Drive. I'm going to include a real short clip of that, and you can see one of my cars getting dunked in the water, and then immediately we actually come up with info saying, oh, the engine is waterlogged and you have to reset the car, which I guess again is a simple button prompt. I guess it might be completely the same as this, but yeah, it's in general really hard to get an S-car waterlogged. Any map where there's water, you get the car stuck in the water, what you have to do is rip it out with a physics gun, or perhaps the gravity gun that works too, and then you set it down again, get out and get in, and it'll make it work. If your car still isn't working, remember to go into the options here, and once again, select fuel, and select no fuel consumption, and zap your car with the car fueler thing to make sure that it's got unlimited fuel, because that also could be the reason why your S-car is stalled and not working. That's pretty much this part of the guide covered. One of the last few things we're going to cover now is that you can spawn S-cars in maps you wouldn't expect. So here we are after that small cutaway or whatever I decided to put in here, and we're in one of the maps that I really enjoy, GM Life Center. It's GM Life Center 2. It's basically a shopping mall, and the main reason we're here is because, I mean, it may be really obvious that you could potentially do this, but yeah, pretty much you could spawn an S-car in all kinds of maps which you normally wouldn't expect it. So, for example here, you could potentially try and just drive it up the escalators if that suits your fancy, and that kind of stuff. I guess Aero's already decided to just... Yep. He's going for it, trying to get this thing up the escalators. By the way, we actually haven't really tested this that much, so we got no idea if it actually fits on these things. And the answer is yes, you can potentially roadkill someone on one of these escalators. And frankly, that pretty much covers it for most things, like most of the basic things you need to know about S-Cars. One last thing I want to cover is I'm going to put basically the channel up on the screen right now, and it's going to include footage from one of their videos. Thanks to Three Gentlemen of Gaming for this. This is their footage, not mine, although I don't think it matters that much, because sadly their channel, the last video upload they had is 9 years ago, and they got a total of 3 subscribers. I'm pretty sure this is a dead channel completely. But yeah, from their S-Cars video, I figured out that S-Cars can potentially spawn in incorrectly and have the same missing textures that spawn in other stuff. So you know that really annoying, basically, checker pattern of pink and black, which means your texture hasn't loaded in, there's an error, there's a missing texture. Yeah, they somehow, these two folks, got S-Cars to spawn in like that. I have no idea what they're doing wrong here, because frankly, as you can see from all our use of S-Cars, they spawn in just fine, and the only reason why it looked a little wonky in that first map is it's got really overblown lighting. Trust me, I was once playing with a Luna player model from Hello Boss, and they straight up just...
Dead!
Yeah, Luna was straight up just glowing like a beacon of sunlight. And yeah, as I mentioned, that pretty much covers it. I think this is a perfect place to end it on. Aero has just ran me over for some random reason, or maybe he was showing off that yes, indeed, you can drive down an escalator and roadkill someone. But yeah, that covers it for this guide on S-Cars. Hope it was useful to you, and hope we didn't take up too much of your time. Bye, I guess.
This is the most impressive driving I've done with this thing.